Okay, continuing on with this same example of the horseback rides. Part C wants to know the percent of rides that were above 3.7 hours. So again, you're going to keep doing this the same way. Z is equal to, they're asking about 3.7 minus your mean of 3.2 all over 0.4. Again, you can type that all right into your calculator. You just need to make sure you put parentheses around the top when you do it. You should get 1.25. So when you draw this, again, that's where your 0 would go. 1.25 is going to be on this side, only now we need to shade over here because they want above. So when you look at this chart, notice this picture and this picture do not match. Okay, that's the only bad part about this, is this chart only gives you the area or percent to the left. Okay, so when you look this up, notice that these two don't match. This is why I always suggest shading, because you can compare the pictures. All right, so when you look up 1.25, so again, I'm going to show you how to do that. Here's 1.2, then across the top, you find 0.5. This does not mean 1.205. Notice this 0 gets taken place by this 2. So 1.2 here, 0.05 here, meet in the middle, 89.44. Okay, 89.44. Now, that's to the left. So when you look it up, that's this way, 89.44. So for the rest, these two, we just put the answer and we were done. If your answer is 89.44%, I'm going to say, does that make sense? That almost 90% of them are above 3.7 hours. That doesn't make any sense. Remember, the mean represents 50%. So 50% is below 3.2 and 50% is above 3.2. So above 3.7 cannot be 89%. And again, that's why you draw this picture. It just makes sense. This cannot be 89.44. So what you do is you need to figure out what that is. So you do 1 minus 0.8944. And that's how you get your final answer of 10.56%. Okay, so just knowing when you draw it, if it doesn't seem like it makes sense, more than likely you need to subtract your number from 1 or 100%, whichever way you want to think about it, and that should make it work. Okay, now there is a shortcut. This little part down here, if I drew this picture, obviously they're not drawn exactly the same, but this area here is the same as this area here. So if you look up negative 1.25, you're going to get your 10.56 right away. Some people like to do that, some people don't. I'm always going to draw the long way just so you can see it, but that is a shortcut since these are symmetric. So if you want to use that, feel free. But otherwise, again, just calculate whatever your z-score is, look it up, and you should know whether that answer makes sense or not. If your answer doesn't make sense, then subtract it from 1. And that part should make sense. Okay, so we've looked at the actual mean. If it's asking for below a certain amount, you're going to look it right up and it's going to give you the answer. Okay, yeah, it's going to give you the right answer because below always means left, and that's what the chart always tells you. If it asks you for above, then you're going to have to subtract it from 1 when you do it. All right. Then we're going to look and it's going to ask us for between two different numbers. We want between 2.8 and 3.2 hours. So I'm going to pretend like we haven't done one of them already, even though we have. No, sorry. 2.8 and 4. Okay, so we want to be between those two numbers. So even though we've done it already, that's okay. 2.8 minus 3.2 all over 0.4 gives us negative 1. Okay, so again, even though you have two separate numbers, you don't do anything with the 2.8 and the 4 together. You have to do two completely separate z-scores. So z equals 4 minus 3.2 over 0.4. That gives us 2. So you have two separate z-scores. So anytime It's asking you for between two numbers, you need to do two different z-scores. Then again, we're going to draw it. That was a really bad one. -1 and 2. We want between it. So here's the problem. That definitely doesn't look like the chart when we look it up. All right, so what you have to remember is when you look these up, they give you the area to the left. So when you look up -1, it's giving you from here over to here, and that gives you 1587. So it doesn't matter if you put the decimal there or if you make it 15.87. Either way, I just want your answer as a percent, so then I want you to move it over. Okay, when you look up 2, that gives you from here all the way over. And that gives you 9772. Okay, so 9772 is from here all the way over. This part there, so we need to subtract those two. There's no shortcut. Okay, there's no shortcut to doing these problems. You have to calculate both z-scores, look up both z-scores just like they are on the chart, and then subtract. You'll always take the big minus the small, all right, but there's no shortcut. These are, you just have to work them out the long way. So 9772 minus 1587, 81.85% is your final answer for that. Okay, so we've looked at below, above, and between. Those are the three different things you're going to be asked to do. Below a certain amount, above a certain amount, or between two amounts. So that's how you do it. You calculate your z-score, draw it out, look it up on your chart. All right, there is one extra thing. Part E wants to know if there are 500 rides. So how many out of 500 last at least 3.7 hours? Okay, so instead of what percent, it's how many out of 500. Well, if you go back, this was already answered in Part C. Okay, so in Part C, what we found out was 10.56%, I believe. Yep, last at least 3.7 hours. So then all you're going to do is take 0.1056 times 500, and you get 52.8. So we're going to say 53 rides out of 500 last at least 3.7 hours. Okay, so just one extra step. One extra step of taking whatever the percent is that you find for the 3.7 hours in this case, times how many they're asking about, and that will give you your final answer. All right, so hopefully once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Page 780, number 67 through 72. So that's because it's just like this, where you have one set of problems and it asks you a whole bunch of questions. If you want extra, 50, let's see. If you really want extra, 47 through 52 would be another good set to do. Okay, 67 to 72 and then 47 to 52 if you really want. But if you can do these, then you will be good to go. Okay, remember for the test, you will get the formula for it. So you won't have to memorize this. You just need to remember what each thing means and go from there. Okay, so that's what you're going to want to be able to do from that section.